think of.
If they're really desperate here, so Rizzo can perhaps play the Thamus, which isn't really
Dairos?
good.
Uranus.
Up against a 1-1 and an Esme, Uranus makes more sense. Again, he does well up against this 1-1. With the basic attacks coming in, your passive is it?
What time
Currently, it is 4:06 p.m. in Jakarta, Indonesia, WIB.
I mean, last time you said it's Bigatron's time, but
I said Bigatron's time to walk on stage.
You're right.
But now it's time for Geek Fam to show whether or not they can clean sweep Bigatron Alpha in the land of Dawn, or perhaps will BTR be able to equalize and force a third game in the series.
that's going to be the question here, Miracle. But the problem is, with such an aggressive draft coming in from Geek Fam, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Bigatron Alpha. The only reliable source of disengage to Geek Fam's really dive-in strat is the Grok. But even then, if Kadera is able to pop those weakness points, that's just all going to be transferred to the backside, and you can see it's going to be difficult, Ronnie.
2 battle spells already used here in the first minute, not a good resource. And composition-wise, once again, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for side of Geek Fam here. Now we're looking at the spells, actually to catch perhaps the members from side of Bigatron. 3 sprints. We'll have to see here.
Man, Marky's just not going to have a good time in this lane. It was Chidera who should have lost in the last game's lane with a Diggy and a Diggy and a Beatrix.
Wow.
But here we do see the town prediction by Axe. There's one BTR, oh man, and it's not really good for BTR right now because Jana just stole a purple buff as well. Max not having a good time, Marky as well. 2 lanes losing already, but BTR.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do with it. Obviously, Bigatron Alpha always been able to pull out crazy things, surprises, and once again, it only needs one moment for them to pop off. So now, Geek Fam, right? 8 seconds left on the clock here for the next neutral objective to spawn. And the problem is they're going to have a better time in taking that neutral objective. Kadira already, because he's winning that lane, he's going to get a lot of gold here in that early phase.
That's just huge here. And Turtle is up. Uh-oh. Jana.
Jumping in very deep here. Still has the consecration key as well. In the midst of it all, going to be caught as Luke is going to be able to dish out the damage onto him. No real commitment just yet into the team fight. It's just both of the teams walking back and forth. So Rizzo as well still has that consecration. And both teams will just opt to back off. No real need to go for those commitments just yet.
I mean, it seems like Bigatron was waiting to buy time for Max because he was still on his buff, and he hasn't been able to rotate to the bottom side just yet. But Marky here once again gonna get so bullied here in that early game.
He was forced to use that Blazing Duet as well, which isn't good because he hasn't cleared the lane. And take a look, full gold shield turret towards the sand on Chidera.
It's tough, man, right now. BTR again, looking for the play, though, down below. Jana QT with the heavy spin, able to go for the heavy spin, knocking it back, but Max is still going to be able to win out in the retreat battle. Now going on to Luke, is able to use the Endless Charge to secure first blood. An objective and a kill over to BTR.
Let's appreciate Moreno for 1 minute here, because that was definitely able to be done by Max because of the fact that Jana QT was heavily zoned away because he took in that heavy spin as well.
Very small play indeed. And again, item-wise here, Akai opted for the cooldown reduction here. So I feel like he can spam more skills. And of course, that Matilda will offer a regeneration as well. So nothing is much of a standard here, emblem-wise. But Bigatron Alpha, with this gold lead, they are able to somehow translate it towards the pressure. Remember, Amon, the burst shards is just too much, even on towards Luke. Earlier, we saw how big the damage was.
But remember here, Goni, Jana QT is on the Demon Slayer emblem. So how is that going to differentiate with Max, who's opted for the Mystery Shop?
I feel like Max will, of course, clear jungle, but he will participate in more kills, more setup to somehow find wars, winning on team fights. Whereas Jana, with this Demon Slayer, he will prio more on towards the objectives, the jungles, and then looks for a pick-off.
Literal objective control for Geek Fam, and for BTR, that kill pressure, right? And in that top side, again, it's just going to be really, really tough for BTR right now because they're just trying their best to grab minions here and there, putting some gold onto Marky. Hey, funnily enough, you guys can also use Grab to grab food with the 20,000 IDR discount code and the promo code grb.tl/MPL as BTR are looking for something up top, but Chidera's gold lead is pretty massive up against Marky. Marky's going to be able to actually jump back to the BMI, but yeah, Chidera is waiting for him. Now with the second turtle spawning, both teams will look to collapse and contest this turtle.
Let's see who has the better setup. I mean, so far it is Bigatron Alpha with the early advantage and GEEK Fam nowhere near. So does it seem like they might want to go for something else? But it does seem like they are going to collapse now as Jana QT already in the vicinity.
Heavy spin popped in by Moreno, actually dealing a lot of damage onto Jana, and that's going to be the falling Sunwood as well. Max securing the turtle right here, as Moreno is going to be able to dish out the damage onto the Cult Altar that was placed by Elzura. Taken low, Voloisky able to dash out, flicker out of the wild charge. Elzura going to be caught though, and the charge under the turret, picking up a kill. Max going to get pinned down under the tier 2 turret, as Jana is able to find a trade up top as well. Chidera finds a turret, so it was actually worth it for GEEK Fam.
Yeah, all in all, it's heavily favoring GEEK Fam. Oh, another play.
Oh my goodness. Yes, Voloisky helped Chidera, but still, Chidera is able to actually do this so many times. He doesn't have the wild charge, pops in the Guardian's Barrier. Crossbow attack going to be popped in by Moreno as he goes for it. Chidera taken down. Moreno able to find the kill, trading it back again for BTR.
Man, still with a 700 gold lead right now. And in terms of those items, are there any differences? Have you reached any power spike that we need to look out for?
Well, no shoes here. 4 out of 1-1, but another fight.
Again, Jana in his own jungle, going to be chunked very low. Moreno picking up a kill, invading very aggressively. And this is what you want to see for BTR, right? They're using that kill pressure early on to just try to bully Akai in the jungle. Chorizo also rotating towards that top side. They might actually want to go for the steal here, but Max is still all the way in his own jungle.
Moreno is playing out of his mind here, Johnny.
I mean, because the mid turret falls as well here, Bigatron Alpha, they have more space. And take a look at the shards here. Max, of course, he has built that Genius Wand, and Chidera could not rotate alone.
Guiding Wind was popped in. Chidera, oh, he waited for the last second to pop that Guiding Wind. Good calculation though, because he knew Key's wild charge was on cooldown. But Marky, he has finished a power spike item with that golden staff, picking up a turret as well in that bottom side, setting up for the next turtle take.
And it seems like here, Bigatron Alpha with a 2,000 gold lead, they are still somehow taking the advantage, the space that they have, and GEEK Fam, they are suffocating.
Wild charge popped in by Key, Chorizo as well. Used the consecration early on. Key going to be able to dash out as that's going to be Marky actually jumping in with the blazing duet, getting the Cult Ultra HP down. Jana goes in for a heavy spin, able to find Chorizo, but that's a tanky member who's still able to survive according to the tankiness of that hero, with Moreno as well stepping up like you mentioned. Insane plays coming in from this Prodigy.
Every time GEEK Fam wants to look for something on the board, every time they have the better advantage, Moreno just always performs. Moreno steps up with whichever ultimate he needs, right? He's been using the heavy spin when it comes down to those team fights. In terms of pickup, he's picked up the crossbow of Tang, and each time he's able to get something out of it. Super value for Bigatron, and you can see that gold gap really just climbing up, already 4,000. And even if we take a look at the stats here, Johnny, damage dealt by Axe, Moreno on top.
Moreno and as well as Marky, the mid laner and the gold laner synergy is just too real here in the second game. And it seems like as it stands, Bigatron Alpha, they can force a game 3 because GEEK Fam, with their comp here, perhaps they are looking for a comeback as well, just like they did in game 1. But remember, Jana QT is on an Akai, so perhaps the damage won't be enough, I would say, in the second game, but we'll have to wait and see.
They're going to have to rely heavily on Chidera.
That's my question though. How is Marky more up in that player's gold versus Chidera, who was winning that lane in that early game?
Because outside of lane, when the laning phase ended, it was Marky who was rotating across the 3 lanes to actually keep on collecting, funneling gold onto himself. Meanwhile, Chidera has been sticking with his team, trying to deal damage and trying to look for those team fights that we mentioned. GEEK fam needs to go for team fights, whereas BTR right now, they can just scale. They can wait for that late game as well with the Claude. As you can see, with that golden staff, he's dealing a whole lot of damage. He's going to be able to clear waves super fast, burst enemy teams, AoE as well in the team fights. And to add on to that, look at the neutral objective control with Marky on the DHS and the golden staff. They're taking it really fast, and GEEK fam do not have any response. Luke in the bottom side gonna get terrified by Moreno, who stole away the cult altar. And look, in the midst of it all, Lloyd, he tried to open up the map, but he will be taken down. Marky jumps in with a BMI, going for the disrespectful recalls, taunting GEEK fam.
What are the items looking like here, Gani?
Well,
For
item-wise here,
Luke in particular, right? Because he was so squishy and susceptible to the damage coming in from that Claude.
well, Luke has the Oracle ready, so perhaps he can sustain a lot of damage and, of course, regen his health. But what's interesting is actually Uranus opted for Dominance Eye, so perhaps that Oracle now is nullified. And take a look at that, Max. He has Holy Crystal. The damage burst is huge, and GEEK fam, the question is, with their items, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, the Claw is dealing so much because Luke opted to go for more magic defense, right? The Oracle, as well as the tough boots there in his items. So BTR gonna have a good time when it comes to the physical damage as GEEK jumps in with a wild charge, able to zone Jana QT away, baiting Beloyski in with that circling eagle. Eldura with a preemptive cold altar, definitely a resource burnt out, and here you go. Marky jumps in with the blazing duet, gonna be caught though by Jana QT with a heavy spin. Marky pinned down against everyone, but BTR able to find the second base turret in the mid lane. Key with the conceal play, trying to look for something again, doesn't have the wild charge just yet. Eldura dishing out the damage, but Moreno placing it back onto him. GEEK fam still able to clear, but BTR, they lost 1 member for 2 base turrets.
Super worth it for Bigatron, and you can see that gold gap now almost at 9,000. And it's so difficult because the damage output coming in from Bigatron Alpha is not nearly as close to how well GEEK fam can itemize at this point. They have to choose. Do they want to itemize for that magic, or do they want to itemize for that physical? And either one can put them in a tough position. Marky already dealing so much damage because of the power spike that Mirko already mentioned beforehand. And you can see the damage output from Moreno as well as Max in terms of that burst and that sustain. How are they going to come back from this?
It's very hard, realizing that they are behind at 8,000 gold as well. The damage from the magical power is huge, and as well as the physical as well. That is just perhaps a little bit too much here for side of GEEK fam to withstand. But one approach that they can do here to somehow survive and perhaps catch up is they need to split. They need to somehow push one lane, so the pressure is only just by 2 lanes from side of Bigatron, which is quite hard as well. But that is a desperate approach. I mean, desperate times calls for desperate measures.
Just really, really hard right now, right? Like if you're GEEK fam, because in terms of the wave clear, high ground potential, you don't really have that much as well. If BTR just consistently play disciplinedly at this point, they can use the wave control that they have right now to get that map control, and with that, they can just go for the Lord for free. Again, Marky dishes out a lot of damage onto the tanks. Jana QT needs to look for the opening, but with Moreno on that cult altar, they might just look for a team fight right here, using the Lord to just bait in the members to come over to this choke point. Luke already taken down there by the endless charge. Jana goes in again, but the winner's truncheon was popped in by Moreno. Meanwhile, Chorizo just jumps in with a blazing duet from Marky to help him out. He's going to be able to shred down every single member, jumping back to the BMI as he noticed Chidera has the crossbow tank. He will use it, but Chorizo is too tanky. He also has the winner's truncheon. Eldura taken down. BTR going crazy again, using the Lord just to bait GEEK fam into that choke point. Marky able to bait Beloyski back in, still trying to sustain a back up. Jana QT trying to make the miracle play happen here, but BTR go for the base. Marky already on the BMI, goes in and secures game number 2, equalizing 1-1.
Clean game by Bigatron here in the second game. And they are going to be forcing GEEK fam to a 3-game series for match number 1 between both of these, as the tension is starting to get higher and higher. And I gotta say, GEEK fam had the better draft, but in terms of that execution, they were lacking.
Bigatron's gameplay, game plan, executed to perfection. It seems like they understand that what they need to do is just suffocate their opponent, rotate quickly, and it seems like GEEK fam, they lost their synergy in the second game. They do have a slight better draft, but the difference is, it seems like no one can support Kadira to somehow give an opportunity. And remember, 3 sprints on the side of GEEK fam, which makes it very hard